Okay, so obviously when you're taking a class from another teacher, they won't let you repeat so many times. Unless you record you can take your recorder. If the professor gives you permission, you can record the lecture, and then when you're going home, you can listen to the lecture again and again. Okay, so after you get out of your ESL classes and you want to take history or math or some other classes, you can find the recorder could be very useful. Maybe you have a recorder on your phone, or maybe you have a small device that you can carry, and then you can listen to it. And you can use many of the same strategies that I'm teaching you to help you listen to lectures, and then listen to one part at a time, because maybe you can't catch everything at once. Right? Yeah.
I did it because I couldn't.
Okay, so let's take a look at Chapter 4, Activity 17, Comprehending the Lecture. We're going to talk about true or false. And we also want to understand. So if I just give you the answer, true, false, true, false, true, false, it's not so useful, right? We want to understand what the sentence means and what the ideas are. Okay, so let's listen and then we'll discuss each one. 145.
Read the directions in your book.
Yep, okay.
Then listen to the statements and circle true or false according to your
false.
information.
1. If your eyes are closed and you are snoring, you must be asleep.
True or false?
False.
Okay, so it's possible to have your eyes closed. Can you close your eyes for me? Don't look at me. Close your eyes. Okay, and then snore. Or you can make a sound like that. You can act, right?
Yeah.
So, it's not necessarily. Sometimes you want to go wake up your son and he makes a lot of noise like he's sleeping, but he's not really sleeping, right? Yeah, it's possible. So it's not necessarily somebody who's sleeping if you see a person like that. Okay, that was pretty easy, right?
Yes.
You ready for number 2? You ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's listen to number 2.
When we are asleep, our brains stop functioning.
False.
True or false?
False.
Okay, raise your hand if you think this is true. When you are sleeping, when we're asleep, our brains stop functioning.
No, it's stop functioning.
True? Is it true? Okay. Raise your hand if you think this is false. When we're asleep, our brains don't stop functioning. They still function. Okay, let me ask you, are you alive or dead? I think you're very alive, certainly. Okay, what keeps you alive? Your heart, your brain?
Yeah.
Okay,
Our heart.
just imagine, if your brain shuts down, you would be
Dead.
dead. Not dying, dead. Dead. You would be dead,
Dead.
right? If your brain stopped, and because your brain is your control center, it helps your body still function. And she did say that in the very beginning of the lecture. She said, when your brain, when we are asleep, the brain does not stop functioning. It's still helping us to keep breathing. Yeah, and to control the enzymes and the hormones in our body and make our cells renew themselves. All of that is going on. Okay, so just because you're asleep and you don't know it, your brain is still functioning. I hope. Let me pinch you to see if you're really awake. Try it. Are you awake? Slap yourself. Okay, you're doing much better at that. All right, so this one is not true.
It's false.
It's false. Very false. Yeah. Well, ready for number 3?
Yes.
Let's listen.
3. The biological clock usually keeps us awake during the daytime.
True.
The biological clock. So raise your hand if you think it's true. The biological clock usually keeps us awake in the daytime.
True.
True. Okay, thank you. How many of you think it's false? The biological clock does not keep us awake during the daytime. Okay, most of you are correct. The biological clock does keep us awake in the daytime. How come you're awake now? It's daytime. And then how about maybe at midnight or 2 o'clock? Will you be awake?
No.
Probably not. Your biological clock will have already told you that you're supposed to be sleeping.
Yeah.
All right? That's normal. That's normal behavior, is that human beings are diurnal. We are daytime animals. You know that there are some animals that are nocturnal. Like rodents.
Yeah.
Rats, they run around at night. or owls, woo-hoo, they are alive and they're more active at nighttime. They are nocturnal. So in their biological clock, they're not the same, right? They're tick-tock, tick-tock-tock. Their biological clock keeps them awake at night. But for us, we usually stay awake in the daytime.
Yeah.
And when it's, I know a lot of you complaining now the light is dark. And then I can see your eyes going, not in my class, right?
Biological clock.
Yeah, right. Okay, so are you ready to listen to number 4?
Yes.
All right, let me play number 4.
4. Everybody needs the same amount of sleep.
Okay, raise your hand. It's true, everybody needs the same amount of sleep? True? True?
True.
Okay. False? Raise your hand, false? Okay, so you think it's false. Everybody doesn't need the same amount of sleep. Maybe you and your neighbor have different amounts of sleep. I have a friend who requires more sleep than anybody. We always tease her because she goes to bed early. We always know that at that time, everybody's still having we're having a party, we're still having a good time talking, and she's going. And then she usually says, okay, bye-bye, I'm going home. So she leaves first, and the rest of us still have our party. Yeah? And we also know that different times of your life, you will need different amounts of sleep. How much does a baby need? An infant, just born baby, newborn baby. How much sleep does a newborn baby need? Maybe 16 to 20 hours.
20 hours.
Right. They sleep most of the time. Just imagine, inside the mother's womb, they slept the whole time, almost. They just kick a few times, but most of the time they slept. So when they're newborn, they also sleep, maybe 16 to 18 hours, maybe 20 hours. They wake up and have something to eat, they wet their pants, and they go back to sleep. But as we grow older, we don't require as much sleep. In fact, sleep, what do we learn about people who are like 65 years old? Do they need a lot of sleep? Maybe 6 hours, 6 hours. Yeah, they need
6
less
hours,
sleep.
yeah.
So not everybody needs the same amount of sleep, right?
Cats also need 16 hours to sleep.
Okay,
Who?
we're just-
The hours? Who?
16.
Who? The birds?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Your cats. Okay. Well, actually, this chapter is not about cats, so we'll move on. And we'll just stick with humans, okay? You ready for number 5?
Yes.
Okay, let's listen to sentence number 5.
5. Sleep debt is created when your body needs sleep.
True or false? True. Sleep debt is created when your body needs sleep. That is the definition of sleep debt. When your body needs sleep, then it's a debt. It's a sleep debt. And whom do we owe the debt? We owe the debt to ourselves, to our own body. Let's listen to number 6.
If your sleep debt is 0, it is almost impossible to sleep.
True or false? If your sleep debt is 0, it is almost impossible to sleep. How many say it's true? Raise your hand. True?
What number?
Okay. And number 6. How many of you think this is false?
I think.
It's false. When your sleep debt is 0, it's still possible to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's think about this. This is important for you. If you understand the concept, you will get this right. If you misunderstand it, you'll get it wrong. So let's think about this. If your sleep debt is 0, what does 0 mean? You don't have any sleep debt?
Yeah.
No sleep debt. You're okay. You slept a perfect amount, and now you feel perfectly alert. So if I say sleep, can you sleep? No. Because you're not sleepy. You can't sleep. It's almost impossible for you to sleep. But suppose, on the other hand, you have 20 hours sleep debt. And then we say sleep. You said, oh, thanks. Then it's possible and easy for you to sleep. If your sleep debt is 0, you can't sleep. But if your sleep debt is greater, maybe you would, greater and greater, the larger your sleep debt is, remember, the larger the sleep debt you owe, the greater your tendency to do what? Fall asleep. So the opposite is, the smaller your sleep debt is,
0.
the weaker your tendency is to fall asleep. Stronger, weaker, the weaker your tendency. So you don't tend to fall asleep. It's really hard to fall asleep because your mind is still alert and your body is still fresh. Got it? So what is this, true or false? Let's go back to that sentence. If your sleep debt is 0, it is almost impossible to sleep. True or false?
No, it's true. It's true. True.
It is true. It is true. If your sleep debt is 0, it's almost impossible for you to fall asleep. But if your sleep debt is greater, then it is possible and your tendency is stronger to fall asleep. Okay. Number 7. Are you ready to listen to number 7?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, let me play a statement number 7.
7. In general, Americans do not get enough sleep.
True or false?
True. True.
That's true. True. Americans do not get enough sleep. This is what the lecturer talked about. And let me tell you, my friend, it's probably not only Americans, you guys too, even though you're, maybe you're kind of sort of Americans, right? You're
Yeah,
living
I
in
am
an American
American
culture.
citizen.
Yeah, you're living in a culture. But in many cultures like ours, fast-paced, we work very hard, we have a lot of responsibilities, we probably don't get enough sleep. And there are many other countries where this is true. And there's probably some difference between urban society and rural society also. But this, although the research has been done, the research for this chapter is done about the United States, there's lots of research in other countries all over that have found similar results about sleep debt. You have a question?
No question. It's a
Comment. You have a comment?
Yeah, in my country, I sleep more, Marsha.
You slept more in your
Yeah.
country. What country?
But in my country,
In Mexico?
don't pay a rent.
You don't have to pay rent?
No.
Oh, okay.
I
All right, that's good. Okay. Yeah,
I
so
have
you don't
many-
have so many worries. You don't have a
many
motivation to
problems,
work.
yeah, mhm.
Yeah, okay. So, when a lot of you came to this country and you suffered a little bit more hardship. Because you have language barrier, you have culture, you have how to find a job when your language and culture are not so strong. And maybe you're separated from your family, you feel homesick and heartsick and a lot of things like that. Change in environment. So many of these things are stresses on your body and on your mind. So it makes it harder for you to do what you need to pay the rent and be able to pay your education, pay for the various things you need, pay for your car, pay for gas to get around. So those are things that increase your worries, and maybe make you have to work more because you didn't learn enough English before. You'd have to come to English class, and so you have to work and go to school and take care of your family. So maybe you don't get enough sleep. It's possible, right? Some of you are nodding and saying, "Yeah, that's me, huh?" Okay, do you want to listen to the next one?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to 8.
Most people realize how sleepy they are.
Most people realize how sleepy they are.
False.
False? No, it's false. Yeah, number 8. Do most people realize how sleepy they are? No, most people don't realize. Right, most people don't have any idea how sleepy they are, right? Because we don't talk enough about sleep in our society to really understand it. But you're going to be different, right? Because you're learning about sleep. And
Yeah.
hopefully you'll be able to gain a greater perception.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
bad.
how about number 9? You ready for number 9?
Yes.
Okay, let's listen to number 9.
9. Sleep debt accumulates.
True or false? Sleep debt accumulates.
True.
That is true. That's one of the things we really need to know is if you have a debt from last night and you have a debt from tonight and one from tomorrow, you add those all up and it accumulates. So what does this mean? What does accumulates mean?
Many nights.
Adds up,
together.
increases.
Yeah.
Okay, so increases, accumulates means you add them all up because they increase, right? So that's what, when it says sleep debt accumulates, you have to count not only last night, you have to count all the nights prior to that in order to find out how much sleep debt you owe yourself. Ready for number 10?
Yes.
Okay, so here's our last item.
10. If you are drowsy, it means that your body and brain need to sleep.
What do you think? If you're drowsy, it means that your body and your brain need to sleep. Is that true? Or false?
Yes.
True?
True.
Yes, okay, that is true. Okay, that is a key factor and a key idea from this lecture. Clear?
Clear.
Good, all right.